There is reportedly a feeling within All Elite Wrestling that pay-per-views are currently too long. Jacy Jayne shocks the world, defeats Stephanie McCur and wins the NXT Women's Championship. Ethan Paige is the brand new NXT North American Champion, defeating Ricky Saints last night. Mike Santana makes his WWE in-ring debut on NXT. He'll be set to challenge for the TNA World Championship next week. Of course, the title currently held by NXT superstar Trick Williams. Bourne must beat Charlie Dempsey next week on NXT to be free of the no quarter catch crew. WWE LFG Season 1 winner Jasper makes his NXT in-ring debut. Tony DAngelo says he can't trust anyone right now. The men's Owen Hart Cup winner Hangman Adam Page will speak tonight live on AEW Dynamite. Meanwhile, timeless Toni Storm will come face-to-face with the women's Owen Hart Cup winner Mercedes Moné. Stephanie McCur, her match for the AAA and WWE Worlds Collide event has been revealed. We have the ratings for Friday's edition of Smackdown, and AEW morale is reportedly way up following Double or Nothing this past weekend. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of professional wrestling. Before we begin, you can see right there, we are now over 22,000 subscribers. A huge shout out and thank you to everyone who has recently subscribed or been subscribers since day one or somewhere in between. Now we aim for 23,000 on that road to 25k. So if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe and join the ever-expanding WNU, that being the Wrestling News universe. In addition, you can become a member of the WN365 roster. All you have to do is click the link in the video description below, or you can scan the QR code when it appears with a sidebar, or click the join button. You get your badges, your emojis, and your exclusive members-only content. Right, let's begin with the length of pay-per-views in All Elite Wrestling. Are they too long? Now, the feeling within All Elite Wrestling is that the promotion's pay-per-views are too long and should be ending before 12 a.m. Eastern, or that being 5 a.m. over here in the UK. Now, AEW pay-per-views have traditionally had a runtime of 4 hours, but all three of the company's major shows in 2025 have ran longer. March's Revolution was 4 hours and 5 minutes, April's Dynasty was 4 hours and 23 minutes, and May's Double or Nothing was 4 hours and 30 minutes. Brian Alvarez has reported on Wrestling Observer Live that the overwhelming belief within All Elite Wrestling is pay-per-views are too long. Quote, yesterday I spent the whole day talking to all sorts of people in AEW, and I will say with one exception, because if I say everybody, then but it was actually everybody. Every single person was like, these shows are too long. We all know it. They should end before midnight on the East Coast, Alvarez said. He continued by saying, like every single person in that company that I talked to, except Tony, because I didn't talk to him, because of course he doesn't think they're too long. Every single person there is like, they're too long. He just does it. We can't stop it. There's nothing that can be done. I hear from fans, yeah, we had to leave the show early. We've got kids. The shows are too long. Everybody knows it except Tony and his small handful of the sickos that would watch the shows if they were 9 hours long, end quote. Now, despite the long running time, All Elite Wrestling's pay-per-views in 2025 have been largely praised, with the exception of a few matches. Double or Nothing was widely praised, with the belief it's one of the best shows the promotions have ever put on. One AEW talent who doesn't believe the pay-per-views are too long is Ricochet, as he tweeted, quote, honestly, even if we change something, it would just be something else that people would complain about. So let me know your thoughts. Are the pay-per-views too long? Let me know your reaction in the comment section below. Now, a shock title change last night on WWE NXT because Jacy Jayne has reached the mountaintop. Jacy Jayne, with a big assist from Fallon Henley, defeated Stephanie McCur to win the NXT Women's Championship for the first time ever on the May 27th episode of WWE NXT. Toward the end of the match, it seemed like Fatal Influence was moments away from breaking up, as Jasmine Nix was even pushed to the ground in the middle of an argument between Jayne and Henley during the match for the championship. Still, Nix was able to separate herself from the other two women and distract the referee, allowing Fallon to nail McCur with a feint kick, leading to Jayne dropping the former champion with a discus forearm for the victory. Many in the crowd were shocked. Even announcer Mike Rome took a beat before making the announcement, as there was a look of surprise on his face. The match also saw interference from AAA's Dallas and Chick Tormenta. Lola Vice took them all out. Of course, this is going to be part of a match at the upcoming Worlds Collide show. We'll talk about this later on. McCur held the title for 78 days after defeating Julia at NXT Roadblock earlier this year to win the gold. And wasn't the only title change last night. Ethan Paige has the NXT North American Championship. Ethan Paige defeated Ricky Saints in a very violent, very personal match for the NXT North American title on the May 27th episode of WWE NXT. The match had been preceded by weeks of tension and attacks between the two men. That tension boiled over big time as they brawled outside the ring, leading to Ethan dropping Ricky with a twisted grin, and Ricky's throat hit the crossbar of a steel chair. That injury would play into the rest of the match and ultimately be Saint's undoing, as it was too much to overcome and he would succumb to the twisted grin inside of the squared circle this time. Now, Ethan Paige advances to Worlds Collide, where he'll be defending his title for the first time. Ethan Paige had all of 90 minutes to celebrate his NXT North American Championship victory over Ricky Saints last night, as he's already slated for a potentially fatal situation at the WWE and AAA Worlds Collide event. Ethan Paige was celebrating his victory in the ring on May 27th when he was interrupted by Javon Evans, TNA's Laredo Kid, and WWE Smackdown superstar Rey Fenix. One by one, they all announced they would be challenging him for the NXT North American Championship at WWE AAA Worlds Collide in what would be a fatal four-way match. This will also be the first time that a main roster WWE superstar wrestles a TNA star and two NXT wrestlers. Now, speaking of TNA, Mike Santana made his WWE in-ring debut last night. Mike Santana has officially made his WWE debut on the May 27th episode of WWE NXT. Santana defeated Tavon Heights in following a spin-the-block lariat in his first WWE match. The standard of TNA wrestling first appeared on the WWE NXT Battleground PLE and set up the match with Heights. A video package was shown before the match, introducing WWE fans to Santana and featuring him discussing how important this moment is for him in his professional wrestling career. Mike Santana, of course, is just the latest name to cross over from TNA Wrestling into WWE NXT. The TNA Wrestling World Championship is currently held by WWE NXT superstar Trick Williams, and Santana says he wants to save the title, ultimately fulfilling his long-term goal of becoming TNA World Champion. And he's going to get that opportunity very shortly. In fact, he's just going to have to wait now less than 7 days. Mike Santana is set to throw down with Trick Williams in his second WWE televised match in an attempt to win the TNA Wrestling World Championship. During Trick Williams' first address as TNA Wrestling World Champion, Mike Santana interrupted him. He didn't take kindly to Williams disrespecting TNA's history and made it clear that he wasn't going to bow to him just because he won a championship. He said he'd seen people like Trick come and go, called him a pretender, dissed his clothing, and said he's a pretend champion. The challenge was laid down for a match on the June 3rd episode of WWE NXT and was made official via a video appearance by Santina Marella, TNA's Director of Authority. Trick Williams tried to leave the ring and went to attack Santana, but got laid out. Speaking of matches next week, Miles Bourne will be in action. Now, Miles Bourne wants to break free of Charlie Dempsey's oppression and suppression. And if he can do that, if he beats Dempsey in his speciality match next week on NXT. After challenging Obafemi for the WWE NXT Championship at NXT Battleground, Bourne is ready to continue his career independently of Charlie Dempsey and the No Quarter Catch crew. Dempsey took exception to this, and Bourne offered to beat him in a match for his freedom. Dempsey accepted, but said it would be completed under the round system, which Dempsey is proficient in and utilized when he was the NXT Heritage Cup champion. The match was agreed to and set for the June 3rd episode of WWE NXT. And we saw Jasper Troy make his in-ring debut last night on NXT. Jasper Troy decimated Dante Chen and then got confronted by the NXT champion Obafemi. Jasper Troy is the winner of the first season of WWE LFG. He made his official NXT debut on May 27, defeating a returning Dante Chen with a black hole slam made famous by the Monster Abyss. After the match, Troy was confronted by NXT champion Obafemi standing on the platform watching the ring. Troy had attacked him last week. Femi made it clear that he could have destroyed Troy if he wanted to, but he wanted to show him respect. However, he said his 5 seconds of fame are now up. Now, it's been a difficult time, hasn't it, for Tony DAngelo, and Luca Crucifino meets with Tony D last night. There was a segment on the May 27th NXT on the CW with Tony DAngelo and Luca Crucifino. It was at the Battleground Premium Live event that Crucifino's appearance during DAngelo's match with Stax cost him the match. Crucifino attempted to embrace DAngelo, but Tony stopped him. When they met last night, Crucifino attempted to explain his actions. DAngelo cut him off and said he cannot trust anyone right now. Going over to AEW, and several matches and segments are confirmed for tonight's edition of AEW Dynamite. Hangman Paige is set for Dynamite on TBS. AEW President and CEO Tony Khan announced that Hangman Paige will speak on the May 28th episode of AEW Dynamite. Of course, Hangman won the Owen Hart Foundation men's tournament at AEW Double or Nothing and will challenge Jon Moxley for the AEW World Championship at AEW All in Texas in July. In addition to that, on Dynamite tonight, we'll also be hearing from the other winner of the Owen Hart Cup, because Timeless Toni Storm will finally meet Mercedes Moné. AEW President and CEO Tony Khan announced that AEW Women's World Champion Timeless Toni Storm and AEW TBS Champion Mercedes Moné will meet on the May 28th episode of AEW Dynamite. Of course, Moné won the 2025 Owen Hart Foundation Women's Tournament at AEW Double or Nothing to earn her title shot at Storm and the AEW Women's World title at AEW All in Texas, also in July at Globe Life Field. Going back to NXT, we alluded to this earlier, but it is now official. The newest addition to Worlds Collide has been revealed. June 7th is the date of the WWE AAA Worlds Collide show. Over WrestleMania 41 weekend, WWE announced the acquisition of Lucha Libre AAA worldwide. The match card for the show is now taking shape, and during the May 27th NXT on the CW, a new addition was made. General Manager Ava approached then NXT Women's Champion Stephanie Vaquer and stated that after her confrontation with AAA's Dallas and Cheek Tormenta at Battleground, Vaquer will meet them in a tag team match at Worlds Collide, but she needed to find a partner. Coming into the frame was Lola Vice, who offered to be Vaquer's partner, and it was made official. However, of course, later on in the evening, Vaquer lost the NXT Women's Championship. We've got the ratings for Friday's edition of SmackDown. Programming Insider and WrestleNomics is reporting that WWE Smackdown on May 23rd drew 1.383 million viewers on USA Network. This number is up. It's actually up 7% from last week's number of 1.29 million viewers the prior Friday. Friday's episode scored a 0.33 rating in the 18 to 49 demographic. That's down 8% from the 0.36 key demo rating on May 9th. The show finished fourth on cable behind the NBA and NHL playoffs. Game 2 of the Eastern Conference Finals between the Indiana Pacers and New York Knicks scored 5.839 million viewers and a 1.83 demo rating on TNT to lead the night. Game 2 of the NHL Western Conference Finals between the Edmonton Oilers and Dallas Stars drew 1.389 million viewers and a 0.40 key demo rating on TNT. And finally, morale reportedly is up in All Elite Wrestling following Double or Nothing this past weekend. Morale in All Elite Wrestling is said to be way up following Double or Nothing 2025, with AEW having long attempted to restore the feeling in the company. Whilst AEW's fortunes have been mixed in recent years, the quality of their pay-per-view output has been stellar according to few, a few dodgy bookings decisions aside, with Double or Nothing an early contender for Show of the Year. A report from PW Insider states that many within AEW feel that Double or Nothing topped to bottom was the best presentation by the company in some time, with morale very high as a result. Fightful Select presents a similar sentiment, with the positive feelings about Double or Nothing lining up with murmurs from within AEW about how good the backstage morale in the company has been of late. After a tough 2023 and a fair 2024, fan consensus has been that AEW has been up in 2025, with a switch to smaller venues for weekly television generating more rabid crowds. With AEW now on the road to All in Texas, it will be hoped that they can transfer fan goodwill into Globe Life Field and hopefully generate solid pay-per-view numbers for the show. But there you go, guys. Latest pro wrestling news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Remember, you can subscribe and grow that number from now 22,018 subscribers on the road to 25k. Scan that QR code you can see right there on the sidebar. You can join members of the WN365 roster. You get your badges, your emojis, and your exclusive members-only content. Whilst checking out the sidebar, you can also see all upcoming watch-alongs and post-shows we've got here coming up live on the channel. That includes, of course, WWE Money in the Bank and WWE and AAA Worlds Collide at the beginning of June. I appreciate everyone for tuning in, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.